Jarvis, drop my needle.
Hello, this is the hardcore legend Mick Foley, and if you are interested in listening to idiots, you came to the right place. Have a nice day.
Woo! That's an attention getter.
He's a very strange young man.
He's an idiot. What we're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
Oh my God, he's an idiot.
You know, of course, that you're out of your jurisdiction.
Personally, I think you're an idiot.
But that's the evidence in the car.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Always like to keep my audience riveted.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, friends and fiends, and welcome to Free Range Idiocy, the podcast about everything, but mostly just the stuff we like. 25 years ago. Oh, dear God, are we old? A man with no heat stepped out from behind the curtain of a wrestling pay-per-view to face a man with a broken foot. No, this isn't the start of a really bad wrestling-themed joke. What would follow would become quite possibly the defining match of each of their careers in one of the best-known professional wrestling spectacles of all time. To commemorate this occasion, we're re-watching the whole thing and giving our commentary in this episode 135, Somebody Stop the Damn Match! 1998's Hell in a Cell featuring Mankind and The Undertaker. I am your Uncle Todd, and with me, as always, is the man who once plunged off his scooter on the way to a train station. He has been my partner in Idiocy for over 2 decades and is the only middle-aged man that I know whom I could utter that phrase about. I give you the man they call Tim.
Greetings and salutations, my friend. How are you?
Mimi.
That was a clean jump off the scooter, I will add.
A clean jump. I just see you getting hurtled off of that thing. You know what would be great is if someone had that on cell phone of you just hurtling over the handlebars of your little scooter, and then we freeze framed it like the old Dukes of Hazzard shows, and then it was like, this is about the time when Tim thought maybe I shouldn't try and scoot to the train station, and then you just face plant.
So it's like the inner monologue.
Yes.
Isn't that Waylon Jennings or something like that?
Was it Waylon Jennings or Merle Haggard? I can't remember. I'm going to have to look that up when I have a second.
I think so.
Oh,
but yeah,
boy.
absolutely.
But here we
absolutely.
are back again with Ginger and Fred.
Fred and Ginger? Is that where you're going?
Fred and Ginger, gingivitis and sugar. I don't know. I'm recording this from home, and I'm on my sun porch, which has no air conditioning. So this harkens back to when I was living in that rental last year, and I would do the same thing. So my brain pan is already boiling. So by the time this thing finished, we're going to have some serious crotch butt cooking going on right now.
Good God.
But how are you doing, sir?
Well, doing all right. Almost had to reset the counter on days without a health incident.
Yes.
I did have to make a trip to the ER last week for just to get the heart rate under control, but within 30 minutes of getting hooked up to the IVO drugs, I was well back in fine working order. So, of course, I didn't get home till 3 a.m, but nonetheless. So,
and the IV of drugs that we're speaking of is basically just a bottle of Wild Turkey 101 hung upside down.
Oh, here's a pleasant sight. Cirrhosis the wonder dog.
Well, they tell you not to say that.
Unfortunately, because it's American healthcare, Tim was charged approximately $1,532.83 for that one bottle.
Yeah.
But it did the trick.
Should have got some Pappy for that price.
It's a lot like Colt 45. Works every time.
That's right.
Hello, what have we here?
But yeah, I'm doing all right. Just having a little speed bump in the health department, but otherwise doing well. How about you, sir? How are you?
No speed bumps in the health department for me. One of these days, I'm just going to keel over, and that's going to be it. You're doing the much smarter way of doing this, where you have speed bumps. I'm just going to fall off. I'm like a Bluesmobile at this point. I'm just the clock is ticking to towards the end of the movie when I just fall apart. That's just how it's going to work.
I do have to say, though, it is one of those times as a person who works in technology, and it is it is rewarding to know that some of the technical gadgets that have been created, such as the Fitbit, has become actually quite important in monitoring this stuff. I've said many times to my wife and to family members that I don't know what I would be doing if I didn't have that, because I don't feel sometimes when this is going on, this whole atrial fibrillation and atrial flutter that I get, and it's one of those things that if you don't treat it, it leads to some very bad things. So very thankful that technology has served a good purpose, even though in other cases it serves not so great purposes.
And as we all know, the Fitbit is the oh my gosh, Elon, really? Is he behind Fitbit?
No.
Okay,
I'm thanking
good.
him sarcastically because of the Twitter debacle and all the other stuff
good.
that's going on.
Yeah, I was going to say, because don't tell me I have to thank Mollusk for anything. Yeah, and as we all know, the Fitbit, the forerunner of that was modeled in Smoking the Bandit 2 by Buford T. Justice, one of the first test subjects. That I forget, it was developed, he said, by Tibetan monks or something, and it's so good. I believe he ordered it from Jugs magazine. So things have come pretty far since then, really.
That about lines up with Buford's MO. So
yes, it does. But anyways, I'm doing. I don't know if I said it or not. I'm doing well, and we're back on our. Well, we have some sort of recording schedule. I don't know what it's been. My life has been a dumpster fire. You've been at least traveling and doing productive things. My schedule has been an absolute dumpster fire.
Going to the ER.
Wrapped in a tire fire, wrapped in, I don't know, a blast furnace of cow poo, I guess, at this point. But other than that, I mean, everything is great. Just great.
Everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome. And if by awesome you mean terrifying and out of my control, then yes, that's exactly what it's like.
Oh, boy.
Anyways,
the
heat's already taken me.
Otherwise, he'd cry.
Yeah, either that or poop my pants. It's and you know what? Those can operate in any order. I mean,
yeah.
I might poop my pants, then cry. I might cry, then poop my pants. I might do both at the same time and make it a party.
Dear Lord.
Yep, it's going to be one of them shows. Well, before we get into any more scatological talk, let's get into a little something we like to call the Week in Geek.
The Week in Geek.
Feels so funky.
What do you got for us this episode, sir?
Well, it has been a couple weeks, so we have a few things teed up here. First and foremost, we're going to jump right into it. And yesterday we had the good fortune of a new Ahsoka trailer being dropped on the interwebs, and it did not disappoint. So thought what we could do, and this will be kind of a running theme in this episode, is do a little of a live watch and commentary over it. So I thought we would just jump right into that and then go through a couple other Star Wars related stories.
Sounds good to me. I have the trailer at 000. The link for this will be in the show notes so that you can watch along as well, even though I'm sure probably anyone listening to this podcast has already watched it about 10 times. But hey, what's one more?
Yeah, absolutely.
So why don't you count us in here, sir?
All right. Are you ready, sir?
Sure.
3,
Why not?
2, 1, go play. Ooh, shuttle.
Wow, thank you.
War is inevitable, baby.
If there's a shuttle involved, things are happening. There's one thing I've learned from Star Wars. We are no Jedi. Gosh, that is a vicious shot right there, dude.
The old ignite and stab.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be a very stabby show.
This is going to be a stabby show. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, this looks gorgeous.
Gotta find out what that thing is. The holo globe of doom.
My gosh. Oh, I'm so excited for Elizabeth Mary Winstead as Hera.
Yes.
I'm so ready for that.
Yes. Sabine. That's actually a cool shot of her on the bike. That looks very futuristic. I like that. Nice.
So I didn't know that was a thing with them. Sabine was training under Ahsoka.
Yeah, I didn't either.
We got our first shot of Ezra.
Yeah. Cut the hair.
Mm-hmm. This thing's getting serious.
The double lightsabers. Very nice. I think that was a Purgle we're looking at there. There's Thrawn, baby. We finally see him. Yeah, what the heck is that thing? I think that's the world between worlds. Is what they call it.
Oh yeah.
The action looks sick in this thing.
Oh yeah.
Love it.
I love the waiting with the spiral. Just all right. You done? You done?
Very nice.
Oh, good Lord.
This is not Snips anymore. You know what I mean? Like before all of this, Ahsoka was always kind of like the, like even toward the end of Clone Wars too, because I even though I haven't watched the whole series yet, I've gotten awareness of what goes on, and always seemed like kind of the younger, always that younger character. But now with Rosario Dawson, doing this live, there's just a gravitas that she just kind of brings to it. You know what I mean? Like she's a fully realized adult sort of character now, and it's very cool to see her get her due.
Well, and it doesn't hurt either that this is a Ryan Reynolds wanting Deadpool. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name. He plays he's Captain America now. Anthony Mackie. It's Anthony Mackie wanting to be in the Marvel universe. Rosario Dawson wanted to be Ahsoka badly. And now that you can tell that like she is taking like a vested like emotional interest in this character and the way it's presented, and she's 100% in, and it really comes off. I think that's where a lot of that, at least some of that gravitas comes from, because there is just this thing from the actor of like, I'm all in on this. Like I am portraying this to the hilt. Yeah. And I dig that, man. I already thought that Rosario Dawson was a tremendous actor. So, I mean, no problem there, but dang, she's just doing a job here. Whew. Yeah. Can't wait.
And I'm interested to see this Balin character, and I forget the younger female that's with him. I think her name is Shin or something like that, but they are, they look like a nasty duo to tangle with. So I'm very interested to see what they're all about, and especially the little holo globe thing, which, some of the articles I've read, kind of made it sound like it was this world between worlds where they have kind of a way of jumping in between like dimensions or something like that. Now, if they get into that, I hope they do it in a wise way, but we will see. We will see. But I do have to ask you, sir, after seeing this and just, the build up to this, are we going to dust off the real and jabroni for this, sir?
Oh, maybe. I mean, I don't know. we've got about a month. I mean, my life could go just completely could go back to normal.
Which means we're only going to get 2 more shows in before it's...
Or, I mean, my life could basically try and do the Kessel Run in terms of insanity. Who knows? Every day I wake up, I'm like, hey, what's going to happen? It's a roll of the dice. But I'd in favor of that. I'll do that.
I'll start crafting. I'll do some scouring on the interwebs and start crafting a.
By the way, did I pay off the last bets? I can't even remember. Did I pay off the last bets?
You did. You paid off. You paid off on the last bet, and because I think I won, and then I think we had a push. I won either the second to last one we did or the last one we did, and then we had a push in another one or something like that. So. All right. All ledgers are clean, sir. So
okay, I just wanted to make sure. I don't want to be like Black Widow. I don't want any red in my ledger. So
or brown in the case of the bourbon, but
Which, by the way,
Just little aside with the bourbon.
Yes.
Two things. One, there's a local fast food place that we like to frequent. And apparently, when my wife went there with my younger son to get a meal, she texted me and said they have a bourbon. Oh crap! What was it? It's not a bourbon shake. What would she call it? A bourbon. Hold on.
Barbecue
of course,
sauce?
I'm forgetting what it is.
Ice cream.
A bourbon slushy. A bourbon slushy. I have not tried this yet, but I am intrigued. So,
my wife got one of them like ninja like shake machine things.
Mm-hmm.
I might try and make the home version of that.
There you go. Nice.
Get me
and
a little,
the second
give me a little vanilla ice cream in there with some wild turkey.
Ooh, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is, this past Friday, I took a friend out. It was a milestone birthday for my friend in question, and I won't reveal age or anything like that, but I will just say a milestone age of sorts. And took him to the watering hole that my wife and I like to frequent on the weekends. The dining area that we like to hang out in and know the wait staff and the bartender and the owners. Got them to set up a little bit. The owners have started to bring in some new bourbons, and we're kind of looking at potentially doing more of like a flight or like a tasting sort of thing at some point. But yeah, set up a bourbon tasting for my friend, and we just kind of ordered off the menu. Ended up having pork belly tacos. Like a charcuterie board to start off, to a little pork belly tacos, and then a nice little sweet dessert to kind of end it. But we did a Blanton's. We did Bardstown straight Kentucky bourbon, Colonel Taylor small batch. We did Penelope Architect and Penelope Toasted. Penelope is a brand. I don't know if you tried it yet, but that is
I've never heard of that.
It is a phenomenal brand. You gotta seek that one out, or I'll try to see if I can get one shipped over to you so you can try it out.
I wouldn't turn it away at the door, sir.
I know. So Penelope Architect, Penelope Toasted, and then we ended with a Knob Creek Rye. So that was the sequence that we experienced. So there we go. Absolutely. So
very nice.
Little bourbon update snuck in there in between Ahsoka and this next Andor item.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm fully ready for a very stabby looking Ahsoka series.
Yes, and high action, a lot going on, and really kind of bringing the whole Rebels cast to life, which will be great to see. So that'll be wonderful.
And Chopper, who basically, I believe they've said that Chopper has the highest body count of any character in Star Wars. Like Chopper has killed like thousands of people on screen at this point. I'm like, oh my gosh! Of course, he's like this psychotic like kill droid, but yet he's cute.
Oh my gosh!
So it's kind of great. I'm looking forward to seeing Chopper in live action
kind of way.
Yeah. Anywho, all right, what do we got? Yeah, sure.
How many minutes are we in? We have the first Jimmy Dice ripoff. There we go.
Somebody's got to do it.
19 minutes, 33 seconds, duly noted. All right. From CBR.com, we have a article about Andor Season 2 seemingly returning to an iconic Phantom Menace planet. And if you know nothing else, ladies and gentlemen, about Uncle Todd and I, you know that Uncle Todd is a deep, deep fan of the Phantom Menace. He thinks lovingly back to the very first time we went to go see a midnight showing of such a movie.
Yes, I'm a deep fan, as in I'd like to bury it deep. deeper than the deepest mine shaft where they put all those copies of the ET Atari game and nuclear waste. Like, if you can get underneath that, that's where they ought to put the masters of the Phantom Menace. Actually, better yet, how about we use our space technology, shoot that sucker out into space and bury it in a cave on an asteroid that's hurtling towards the sun? There's an idea for you,
folks. He thanked me because he had always wanted to go to a midnight showing.
I always wanted to hear about a midnight showing of a movie about friggin' trade blockades,
and political ne'er-do-wells,
and not even done well. not even done well in an interesting way. It was like somebody ripped some sheets out of your social studies book from 8th grade, and not even from an interesting time. But it wasn't even like the War of 1812 or World War I or anything. It's like the Teapot Dome scandal, and then they're like, oh yeah, and here's a movie about this. Are you friggin' kidding me? This is Star Wars. Ain't no stabby lightsaber and this and that. And then you got this other dude, Jar Jar, who's like, I don't even know what the hell he's got to like. What is this guy like?
For the children. He's for the children.
The children. No, Wu-Tang is for the children. Jar Jar Binks is for the freaking birds. That is.
Good God.
Wu-Tang is for the children. Jar Jar is for just. I don't even know.
I don't know where you're going with that. Well, anyways, so Phantom Menace, bring it back to Andor season 2. Andor, by the way,
goody.
Actually nominated for an Emmy.
Really? What category?
I believe just in best series. I think it was best, whatever the best overall series category is. And then I forget the actress's name. I thought her first name is Fiona, but she played Andor's mom. And I thought I read rumors that she was in for a nomination too, but I didn't see her name. Let me bring that up real quick. But as I'm bringing that up,
she did a good job in that. I mean, everyone did. I didn't think there was for a cast that big. I really did not feel like there was a ton of weak links.
Yeah, best drama series, Andor. I didn't really see Andor after that, so I don't think she got nominated, unfortunately. A lot of Ted Lasso, in there, a lot of Succession.
Man, I gotta watch some Ted Lasso. I started the first episode, and I don't know what happened. Like, I think I started watching it, and then I ended up having to like go to work or something. Yeah. I kind of dug it, but man, my time like to watch stuff is like, okay, so here's a confession for you.
Oh boy!
Just this evening, like immediately preceding our recording, watch the first episode of Secret Invasion.
Oh, okay.
I've just gotten around to that. I still haven't seen Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, yeah.
I like my time right now, again, I mean, even considering how much of a dumpster fire my schedule in life has been, you would have thought I would have snuck out to the movies at some point, but apparently not. Aside from that one time that I tried to sneak the pizza in. What was that for? What was that movie that we talked about?
Oh, wasn't that not Indiana Jones? Guardians.
Dear God, no. Guardians, yes. Guardians, my ill-fated pizza smuggling operation.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
didn't quite pan out the way he was hoping.
Even my wife, when I came home and I told her about it, she says, "You did what?" Almost like that same tone that you could like. Okay, here's the thing, folks. Like, you're married for a certain point in time. Like you can see like emotional subtitles under your spouse's expression, and that expression when she's like, "You tried to do what?" was, "And I actually married you. I actually thought this was a good idea."
Oh dear.
What in the world was I thinking?
What was I thinking?
But anyways, where are we going with this? So likely
Andor,
familiar location.
Here's what's interesting. So Andor nominated for Best Drama Series. Obi-Wan Kenobi was nominated for Best Limited or Anthology Series, which I thought was kind of interesting. I don't know why it got slotted in there.
Well, because Andor more than likely is a series. Like, they're going to do season 2, whereas I think Obi-Wan, they're like straight out the gate. Like, this is a one-shot thing. And I would even say that's undeserving. Like, Obi-Wan, I enjoyed it. It was not all that in a bag of chips.
Andor got best, didn't win it, but they're nominated for Best Writing for a Drama Series and Best Directing for a Drama Series. So I think that's
both fair.
That's well deserved. So, well, anyways, the whole point of the article wasn't about the Emmys or really anything we've talked about for the last 10 minutes, but mostly about the fact that in season 2, they have been filming in a location that was shot back for Phantom Menace to basically be the area of Naboo, which was the home planet of Padme during the prequel trilogy. So a little bit of nod there that we'll probably get a view into that. Don't know if the rebels are kind of stowed away there for a period of time or not, but they are going to make a visit to that locale, and I for one am excited. Season 2 is going to be very interesting. I think it's going to still have that 3-episode arc, but I believe what I read is each arc is going to be like a year, or represent a year, and then the next 3-episode arc is like the fall, kind of like the next year after that. So we're going to traverse like 2, 3, 4 years, I think, in that season 2, which will then wrap up as we've heard, basically just before the events of Rogue One. So looking forward to that. Where
everyone dies. Do it. Spoilers.
I sent Uncle Todd this week a great meme of some guy at a gym working out with his hood kind of pulled over his face like Palpatine. And it was like, get the work in at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., blow up the Jedi Order or whatever.
Hey, man, if you're going to do that, if you're going to be taking out Jedis, you better be swole.
Yep.
You better go get your swole on.
135 episodes and swole finally surfaces.
I mean, hey, you don't know how Jack Palpy is underneath that robe.
It took before swole worked its way into the free range idiocy lexicon.
That man's got a 6-pack. I mean, he's all jacked up, but he's, that he can bench, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Especially that lightning coming out of there. Just levitate the thing up.
It's all coming from the muscles. All
it
right.
is.
So that is the Andor update. Andor going to Naboo.
So that's actually creatine lightning is what that is. It's pre-workout and creatine. Feel that burn.
If I keep laughing too hard, I'll probably go AFib again. Good Lord.
Awesome. That'd be great. And then your wife is going to be like, you're definitely not hanging out with him anymore.
First time in free range idiocy history, we'll have a live, hey, I got to go to the ER.
And you know what? You better like broadcast the whole way there too.
Got my head out the window doing the siren sound. No one's moving.
Woo! Except he'll be doing the Ric Flair woo the whole way. That's right. Like, sir, get back in the ambulance. Put the microphone down.
That is too funny. Well, moving right along from CBR.com to FandomWire.com.
We Star Wars trifecta.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're moving a little bit off from Star Wars, but still, orbiting around Lucasfilm. But the title of this article is After Indiana Jones 5 Disaster, Lucasfilm reportedly firing Kathleen Kennedy to save Star Wars from further embarrassment. I saw a couple articles like this. I saw Indiana Jones 5. Quite honestly, I thought it was a much better outing than number 4, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It was a much more solid story. It didn't blow you away like Raiders or like Last Crusade, but it was a very solid outing, I thought. So I'm a little mystified by some of this it was awful talk, because I really don't think it was that awful. But nonetheless, she has been really the last several years we've been hearing rumors of her departure, because whether rightfully or wrongfully, the fan base is pointing a lot of angst and anger at how Star Wars as a franchise has been handled under her watch. I don't know that people are all being very fair about it. I think there's probably some...
You mean Star Wars fans being fair? Really?
I know.
The hell you say?
For all the complaints that are being made, we have gotten, The Mandalorian, we have gotten Andor, we have gotten a lot of content that I think we as fans had been asking for quite some time. And done well, but just not done in the way that I think maybe some folks had thought. And so with Indiana Jones and the financials not coming in the way I think they had hoped, it's looking more and more like she may end up being let go. So we don't know if this. What's really strange about this article is it really hasn't been confirmed, but it sounds like there are rumblings that she could be let go. But I don't know. Is this fair? Unfair? What are your thoughts, sir?
I mean, first and foremost, as I say with any of these things, when we talk about fans of particular fan bases and Star Wars fans in particular, they are fickle, whining, little womp rats of individuals at times, where it's like it can only be one way, and then if you give it to them that one way, then it's not good enough. So there's a ton of people out there who just wouldn't be happy. They're not going to be happy with anything except episodes 4, 5, and 6. And even if you give them 4, 5, and 6 a different way, which is honestly some of the faults of the post-Squeal trilogy, then they don't like it. So I mean, there's no pleasing some people. I think that it's not a Kathleen Kennedy problem. It is a movie problem. It is a Hollywood movie studio screen entertainment problem. The movie streaming television industry, to encompass everything that kind of fits into that right now, is a big ass ship. And what do we know about big ass ships? They take a long ass time to turn. And with the way that streaming has come in, I mean, we see that with the writer's strike right now. People are still trying to figure this out. There's people who only want to operate the way that things have always been, and there's other people who don't want to operate that way because they're getting screwed. And writers, fairly enough, are kicking up some dirt about this, because if anyone has been screwed over in Hollywood for an awfully long time, aside from perhaps female actors who have been second-class citizens for an awfully long time throughout Hollywood, and the casting couch system that has been in place and everything else, writers are in second place there. Like, writers have been screwed over for an awfully long time. But with streaming, with the way that things went during COVID, Hollywood is trying to doing somewhat like what the music industry did when, all of a sudden you had Napster and all these things, and even before that, when there was the availability of retail audio cassettes. That was like, oh my gosh, this is going to end everything. Everyone's going to tape their stuff, and no one's going to buy anything. So they're going through the shakedown process, and there's going to be casualties because it's a big ship, and it's going to take a long time to turn it into any new direction. And if there's one thing that we've learned, is these industries don't really want to change. They're making a whole lot of money at this. They don't want to change anything because they don't want to endanger their bottom line, because that's an unknown. They like the known, where they've got the game rigged in their favor, as we've seen with Hollywood Accounting, where some of the biggest movies of all time, on paper, according to Hollywood Accounting, have never made a single nickel of profit, or have made minimal profit, because that would mean that they then have to pay people, which they don't like to do because they want to keep the money to themselves. So I think, yeah, there's a good chance Kathy Kennedy could be out. Do I think it's necessarily her fault? No. I think it's because the entire system is changing and nobody really knows where it's going. I think the biggest problem with Indiana Jones 5 is the fact that Indiana Jones 4 wasn't great, because it took how long after Last Crusade before you got Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
Yeah.
Long ass time. And did anyone really want to see that movie? That was the thing.
Right.
So then you're coming off of that, another like however many years after that, to now a movie of like, well, do I really want to see that? And it's coming about in a world where we're now at the point where, like, I don't really have to go see this movie because in 30 to 60 days, it might be streaming on Disney Plus. And especially in a world now, because now factor in, aside from Hollywood Accounting and streaming and everything else, the real world. We live in a real world right now where, I mean, to go back to that famous political candidate, the rent is too damn high and everything is too damn expensive, including going to the movies is really stupidly expensive for what is kind of, I mean, I'm lucky in that some of the cinemas around where I live are decent. They're okay. They're not outstanding, but they're not a whole. But there's a lot of theaters out there that aren't great. And you really want to go pay $20 for a ticket to go see a movie that you're kind of like, meh? Probably not.
Yeah.
Because I can wait a month or two and see it in the comfort of my home, pause it whenever I want. And when you think about some of the again, now to throw in another factor, the technological advantages of being at home. I mean, people have ungodly big TV screens right now. Think about it. When we were sharing an apartment back in, what was it, 1997? Something like that. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like 97, 98, somewhere around there?
Yeah.
We had the old school O'Sullivan Pedestal Entertainment Center that weighed about 180 pounds.
O'Sullivan.
That had room for a 40-inch TV in it. And what do we have sitting in that? We had a 19-inch CRT TV in there because that's what I had.
Yep.
And at the time, like, you got a 35-inch TV, you were like big pimping. Like, that was a big deal because, I mean, of course, it weighed like 400 pounds too. Now,
my bad.
35-inch TV, like, people are like, oh, that's the TV that I have in that's the TV I have in my kitchen for the kids to watch,
sitting on the kitchen counter.
Yeah. Now, like, I've got like a 42, 45-inch TV screen, and that's small compared to what a lot of folks have. I mean, you can buy a 60-inch TV now. I went to freaking Sam's Club. They had like an 80 or 100-inch TV in there, and it wasn't expensive. Like, I mean, it was more than I'm going to pay, but I mean, it's not like, oh my gosh, that's so out of everyone's reach. You think about the experience you can have at home to watch a movie. And where you can put where you can put the screen and everything else. There's not a lot of people. People are getting more choosy about the movies that they're going to see. So everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, the theater experience is dying." It isn't. You just need to have a really good movie now. Yeah. And some of this stuff that you're just pushing out there. I mean, look, freaking Oppenheimer is pre-selling like freaking gangbusters right now. Barbie. Oh my gosh, the idea, like, I heard that this week there's like theaters who are doing an Oppenheimer Barbie double feature. You want to talk about like a mind job?
Those are two extremes right there.
It is. But people are want to see both of those movies because both of them are like, all right, well, this is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, however it turns out, but I mean, you have to be, people are being more choosy about what they're going to go see. Yeah. So it's not so much like, oh my gosh, Indiana Jones is in trouble or Kathy Kennedy is making poor judgment. It's like, this is the old way of doing things where if you just put out a blockbuster and it was kind of meh, you're still going to make some decent money because people love that character. Now, it ain't this case anymore. So I think it's more of a movie system problem. I mean, not to belabor the point, because I mean, I'm already about 10 minutes past doing that anyways. I think, there's a decent chance that this is the first time that Kathy Kennedy is really in jeopardy. I don't think she necessarily deserves it because for the same reasons you said. Like, we've gotten one of the greatest Star Wars movies of all time under her watch, Rogue One. I'd say we got another really, really good Star Wars movie, which was The Force Awakens. I'd say in retrospect now, people are kind of coming around to Solo and realizing like, oh, this wasn't as bad as we thought it was. It's just a different type of movie. Now they've seen a little variety in Star Wars movies.
Music to Jimmy Dice's ears, right? Is that right there, my friend?
Well, because people now understand like, oh, it doesn't have to all be about the Skywalkers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, well, and then the Mandalorian and Andor and all these other things. Yeah, no, but I mean, she hasn't. It's not like everything she's done. She's not Bob Chapek, okay? Like to bring it back to the mouse. She's not Bob Chapek who's just pissing people off left, right, and center. Like, she's done some really good things, but she could be on the chopping block easily.
Right. And I think what also needs to be remembered too is you have to go and try some new things and you're not always going to hit it out of the park, but there are definitely things that, like when Rogue One came out, that was before Solo. And it was, again, this idea of, Star Wars is on a roll. We had Force Awakens, we have, Rogue One, we have, this new Solo standalone. We're going to have all these other movies. And I think, some things hit and other things didn't. And, I think they made a very wise choice when, The Mandalorian was originally supposed to be, kind of a bounty hunter based movie. And thankfully they decided to, put it into the TV format or the episodic format. And that was probably the best decision they could have made for that particular, character and for the story they were trying to tell. So, it's one of those things that, they're a company. They're trying to, like you said, they're trying to make money off of their properties, and Indiana Jones is a property. I don't agree. I thought Last Crusade should have been the end of that whole thing. I thought it was a great ending to that trilogy of movies and that character, and there was really no reason to go back to it. And they at least tried to salvage some of that in this movie, from 4 a little bit. I can't say too much because I don't want to spoil it, but there's some things that are alluded to, one kind of minor thing alluded to from 4 that I thought was good, but also it brought some depth to the Indy character a little bit. And I thought it was, well done, how they did that. And so, I think unfortunately she's the face of the company, and so she's going to take the lumps, and they're going to want to get rid of her, and they're going to plug someone in, and shockingly that person's going to probably have to some degree the same amount of success, because that right now the powers that be want to move in a particular direction with these franchises. And so until they get to a place of writing quality character based movies and TV shows, which Andor 100% was, and that's why it was so great and why Mando was so great. When they do those things, then they're going to create some great content, and I think people will enjoy it. But I do believe, I think this is a lot being thrown at her that is not earned or is not really on her head necessarily, even though she is leading all of that. I feel it's unjustified in many cases. So.
And to take it in another direction, I mean, sometimes coaches get fired and it's not their fault.
Right.
And sometimes it just takes a changing of the guard. You need some new blood. You need to shake things up. And unfortunately, it's much easier to fire one person than to fire, an entire roster of players in sports. You can't do that. You just can't just say, all right, everyone's cut. Because you have contracts, you have stuff like that. It's just like you can't, I guess Warner Brothers did. You just can't scrap every single movie going. Warner Brothers is challenging that. But it's easier to put it on that one person and just, all right, now we're moving on.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting because, at least it'll be the first, depending on, unless they bring up like Doug Chang or, somebody else from the Lucasfilm
the interesting
tree. It's going to be interesting who takes over.
Yeah, the interesting thing is this hasn't really been official. This is kind of like rumor, and I haven't seen an article that says she has officially been fired. So if that is what ends up happening, it'll be interesting to see who they plug in. So
yeah, she couldn't have been fired. That would have been that would have been a big announcement because So that it's speculative, but at this point, there's smoke.
Yeah.
There's smoke.
Do you want to go through our final two, or do you want to move on to the main event?
I think we might want to move on to the main event at this point.
All right. We have 2 other Week in Geek items. We will defer them. We will push them along to episode 136, and we'll start off with those next time when we get to that point, whether it's a week from now or 3 weeks from now. But
I was going to say about mid-September when we get to 136.
That's right. But basically to tie this up, it's been a few weeks and just a Star Wars heavy Week in Geek. So that, my friends, is your Star Wars heavy Week in Geek.
All right. Well, that brings us to now the main event. Well, yes, actually, it's kind of our main event, but it was a semi-main event at the 1998 King of the Ring. Hell in a Cell, Undertaker versus Mankind, the 25th anniversary. Dear sweet Lord, are we
June
old?
28th, 1998 at the Pittsburgh Civic Center or Civic Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
The Igloo, I believe, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
See, I know things.
When was the first time you saw this? Because I was thinking about this just for myself, and I honestly, again, because of age and bad memory, I don't know that I got this pay-per-view. Like it was during a period where I would get pay-per-views, but I don't remember if I had gotten this one or not. And if we'd seen this live
I don't think so,
together.
I don't remember watching this live with you. I think I've watched. I don't even know that I might have watched this once in total. I think I've seen mostly bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
And kind of pieced it together. So in many ways, it's sort of like Mick Foley's recollection. I've pieced this together over time rather than actually being mentally present to the entire thing.
Yes.
But I've heard Mick talk about it enough that I feel like I've experienced it many, many times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so it's just interesting because like even when I look at the King of the Ring like bracket because this is the event it took place at Hell in a Cell 98, and it was like did you know Ken Shamrock won that year?
Because I did not. No. I mean,
like I'm looking at the bracket and it's like it went to the Rock and Ken Shamrock finals in '98, and Shamrock won. I'm like, really? That seems kind of strange.
Well, I mean, not really when you think about it, because I mean, I think Rock was already. I think they could see the writing on the wall with The Rock, and they were probably trying to knew that like, okay, it doesn't matter if he doesn't literally, it doesn't matter if Rock goes over in this one. Let's try and use that to rub, give the rub to Shamrock because I mean they had big plans for this guy. They tried everything to get Shamrock over. I mean, wasn't he IC champion at one point?
Oh yeah.
And they did the Lions Den match. Gosh, what else did they do? They did. I mean, they put him together. They had the angle with. They gave him a sister that he was fighting for her honor.
Oh yeah,
They had a whole. They literally threw everything at the wall with this guy, and they could not get him to the next level.
He was kind of a charisma vacuum, if you will, for a period there.
Oh yeah, I mean he was not the black hole of charisma that Charles White was before The Godfather, but he was he was definitely one of those guys that Owen Hart would have been. He's a real nice guy.
Yeah.
Oh, how is he to work with, Owen? He's a real nice guy.
As I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for this event too, what is also cracking me up is in the semifinals, Shamrock fought Jeff Jarrett. And Jarrett's manager at the time was none other than the amazing and incomparable character, one Mr. Tennessee Lee. If you remember Tennessee Lee,
oh my gosh,
he had a stogie and a big cowboy hat and talked in a Southern Georgian accent sort of thing. So.
Oh my gosh, yes, because Tennessee Lee is going to have the Southern Georgian accent. Yeah, of course. Right. It was the Attitude Era, ladies and gentlemen. Just nothing made sense, and you knew that there could be boobs at any moment. That was really,
oh my gosh,
that was really the way the whole thing played out. Like,
yeah,
you watch because you're like, there could be boobs, and who knows what could happen next.
Tennessee Lee, who was known as Robert Fuller, he was Colonel Robert Parker in WCW. So,
Robert Fuller, wasn't he? I remember him from Mick Foley's biography.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Yep. Oh my gosh. Autobiography. Sorry, I don't mean to imply that Mick didn't write it. But yeah, this was. I definitely did not watch this pay-per-view. I've definitely not seen this pay-per-view. I just know an awful lot about it.
I do think the concept of The Rock as King of the Ring would have been kind of funny though. Like if they had run with it like that, like
totally. But it was
given how he turned everything into gold that he was given. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was quite in that spot. If I'm getting my times right, I don't think he was in that spot where you knew, like, oh yeah, he can go out there with anything. Like when he got like, pancake eating, over as a catchphrase, and like anything could become a catchphrase for him,
Right.
But I think they knew, like, okay, he has enough right now.
Yeah,
King of the Ring isn't going to do him any good. Like we know where he's heading. And he can take a bit of a hit losing to Shamrock. Like he'll get his heat back within like 20 seconds of leaving the ring, but I don't think it was quite in the whole like, oh my gosh, he is like King Midas of wrestling. Anything he touches is going to turn to gold, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that is funny to think about. Freaking Ken Shamrock going over the Rock doing the JOB
for a couple other matches.
Shamrock,
which I think will make Uncle Todd chuckle. Al Snow and his partner Head took on Too Much. Brian Christopher and Scott Taylor. You remember when Al Snow would walk around with the mannequin?
Oh yeah,
head?
Yeah. What does everybody want?
Oh God. Oh yeah. Thank you, Paul Heyman, for that one.
No. Apparently Mick Foley was the one who came up with that.
Ah, okay. All right.
Or at least he claimed to in his autobiography.
Heyman gave him the platform, so
this is true. And it worked very well for him in ECW. But it's another one of those things, like, it just didn't translate, or I think it was just if that had come along another 2 years, a year and a half deeper into the Attitude Era, could have worked. But I think it was just the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Anyways.
What else? Let's see. X-Pac took on Owen Hart. Nothing crazy there. Oh, New Age Outlaws defended the tag straps against the Midnight Express, which was Bodacious Bart of the Bart and Billy Gunn era, and Bombastic Bob, which would be Bob Holly.
Damn!
Oh my gosh, that's just awful.
Hell was that?
And then, of course, we have the Hell in the Cell match between Mankind versus The Undertaker, which we'll talk about in a moment. And the main event was a first blood match between Stone Cold. You know, Stone Cold was coming out a winner on this one, fighting, a man under a mask, Kane. Stone Cold, bald head, all exposed there in a first blood match against
and Kane with like nary an inch of skin showing.
Yes,
like the man was wearing gloves.
Austin,
like you couldn't even get him on a hangnail.
Good God. So all in all, a very interesting card and a very interesting time.
I love
WWE.
how you're saying interesting. Like that is like, one of the more
really interesting.
Terms.
It's more odd than anything else, but yeah,
it's interesting from a historical perspective. But as like there's a reason why you didn't buy this pay-per-view.
Yeah. But I think the first time I saw this was I got the videotape of it, or I don't know if I purchased it or got it as a gift. But
did you rent it from Blockbuster?
I might have. I don't remember. It's a long.
As a matter of fact, I still have that tape. I think the last Blockbuster in Oregon's coming after my ass. I owe $8,000.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at the man who has the last fine to pay to Blockbuster Incorporated. Good God.
They purchased all of the debt, and they said, you know what? We're going after this one.
Yes.
We're going after his deviled egg eating ass. That's what we're doing.
He wants to ride first class. No more.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
You'd be riding in back with all the crates of chickens. That's where you're going to be.
That's right. All because you wanted that one tape. So this match really was meant to be, kind of a stop along the way of the Mankind Undertaker feud. They had fought before and had worked into kind of another program where they were going to kind of settle things once and for all inside of the cell. And what's interesting is I don't think anyone realized going into this match just where this match was going to go exactly. And and I think that a lot of the historical part of this and why we still talk about this today is largely in part due to not the fact that things happened that weren't expected, but things happened in this match that I just don't think people ever thought they would see. And Foley. Let's be honest here, and actually I'll send the link to Uncle Todd for the YouTube. It's a WWE produced video, but Mark Calloway and Mick Foley sit down and actually do what we're about to do, which is watch this match and kind of give their thoughts about what they were thinking, and just their thoughts and reactions as everything was happening in real time during this match, which is really fascinating. But there's a couple times where they both realize Mick could have, like, that could have been it for his career. Like there was a couple times during this match where he could have been severely injured had it not like I love the part where he talks about when he gets off the stretcher and climbs to the top of the cell for the second time. He's like, it would have been really great if we had like a better punching exchange at the top. And Calloway's looking at him like, Mick, you just fell 15 feet.
Yeah.
It's like, what the heck do you expect?
Mick has very high standards. He believes there was an ass in every seat, and every single ass deserved a spectacle. And
so,
God bless him for that. That's value for money right there.
But the two big spots that we will cover, or that this match is most remembered for, of course, the first being Foley having to outdo Shawn Michaels, who fell off. He was standing on the middle bar of the side of the cage in the very first Hell in a Cell and kind of fell backward onto the table. No, Foley had to go full on elbow drop from the top, helped by the Undertaker throwing him off onto a table, doing some damage to himself that way. And then, of course, the second spot is when he does climb to the top of the cell for a second time, when he gets choke slammed. And he admits, and Calloway has said this as well, that thank goodness Foley couldn't launch up or push up the way he normally would for that choke slam, because he probably would have over rotated going down and probably would have landed on his head. Because he didn't, it was a clean flat back on the mat, even though it was another 15-foot drop of the night. So it's like, good God.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's what this is remembered for a lot, is just the physical spectacle of what Foley put his body through, and then continuing the match. Oh yeah. Which was just ridiculous. I mean, you're sitting there like, this guy shouldn't be doing this, and they still put on a heck of a match, and then bring out the thumbtacks, which I believe Foley said this was like the first time on American television that he believes people had seen this done before. At least on WWE television. I think they of course did thumbtacks in ECW,
and according to his autobiography, afterwards he's standing backstage talking to the Undertaker, and he's like, did we use the thumbtacks out there? And he literally has them sticking out of his body. And Taker is like, yes, Jack, we did. He's like, oh, good. And just walked away.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, oh,
that's too funny.
Then.
Too funny. All right. Well, what we thought we'd do is get into a bit of a live rewatch with commentary as we watch this on the Peacock, King of the Ring 1998, all queued up.
So we'll have the link to this in the show notes. But for those of you wanting to know, we were at timestamp 1 hour 46 minutes 35 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
At least that's where I'm at, because I couldn't get to the 146.36 that Tim's at. So we might have a bit of a time discrepancy, but as Doc Brown said, please ignore, pardon the crudeness of this model. We're working with limited technology here. And hopefully Tim doesn't have any ads, because I had to renew my Peacock subscription. I'm paying money to make this episode, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going in the hole on this one. It's for you people, and I bought the premium with no ads, and Tim after is like, oh, I think I've got the ones with ads. I'm like, you cheap ass. You spend the extra $5 on some deviled eggs, but not to get rid of the ads on Peacock.
I was going to say this Friday, I think we're going out and going to get some deviled eggs and some.
Of course you are.
Some bourbon.
I'm surprised you're not eating them right now.
Oh, no, it's a Friday night sort of thing.
You're like Snoop. He has his like the guy who's just on his staff to roll joints. You just have like a chef on call to make you deviled eggs. That's the only thing.
I'm feeling like a little BLT. Can you set one up for me?
and instead of a BLT, plate of deviled eggs. Exactly what I was thinking.
Exactly.
All right.
All right.
Well,
are you ready, sir,
shall we
to
get
begin
into
this
this?
viewing? I think so.
I am. So why don't you count us in here, sir?
All right. 3, 2, 1. Kick her off.
Good old JR.
JR
Oh my
and
gosh.
Jerry the King Lawler.
The shirt with no collar. Like, you remember those?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I had a couple of those. Those were terrible. That was just an objectively terrible time in
I
the
gotta
world.
tell you, when they brought the cell concept in, I was thrilled that, like, for the longest time, WWE's steel cage matches were always these like jungle gym kind of like, really
the blue cage,
not
yeah.
chain link fence. It was just like this jungle gym bar kind of style of cage, and it was mostly to facilitate the climbing in and out and doing stunts off of the wall and that sort of thing.
Well, yeah, but it also helps set them apart.
What's that?
It helps set it apart, because if you look at like the all the other cages, they're using like chicken wire. They're using the mesh because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
But like actually like going and welding your own structure,
Mm-hmm. But just going to the chain link style like that just has a vicious quality to it. Like, I remember watching WCW steel cage matches where they use chain link, fencing for the walls, and it just took on a much more violent feel than the blue bar, kind of monkey bar sort of cage that they created. Here comes Mick. Yeah. Here comes.
I forgot
Mick.
about his original, like, the music. I got so used to the dan like the guitar riffs. I forget, like, this old school music.
I just love the disheveled tie.
Yes.
That was always the great part of Mankind. He had time for the tie. Doing the tried and true testing of the chain link wall. The walls are sturdy, as we'll find out when they get to the top. The ceiling, not so much.
Well, that's what happens when you hold the thing together with zip ties.
Oh boy, what's he doing?
Here he's going in.
Foley's. I forgot he went in. I thought he went right up. No, wait a minute.
Yeah,
he's
too.
having second thoughts. Foley's having second thoughts. Oh, he's testing the door. Is the door working? Yeah, looks like it's working. What's he going to do now?
Well, if nothing else, he's thorough.
I'm impressed he got it up there on the first throw.
I know. I would have been nervous as hell doing that. Oh, yeah, and here...
He even talks about this too. He is like the wrong person to be doing this sort of.
Yeah, like he couldn't. I guess he couldn't feel one of his fingers for like a week and a half.
Yeah.
And as somebody who's done that, like you tweak your finger or something, and it's like it feels dead for like a couple days. Like, I can only imagine like a week and a half. Like, oh God, is this ever going to work again?
Yeah. Oh, there we go. The Undertaker. I think we actually measure match time. All right, so Foley's on top of the cage right now, and the place goes dark.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm wondering if at this point he's like, I'm not taking a step right now.
Well, knowing Mick, he's probably stomping around up there like, okay, now where's the soft spot?
Yeah. Oh,
what a
my
great
gosh.
entrance, dude. Like, I mean, come on.
Iconic. Oh, so iconic. I can only imagine what it must be like as the opponent. Just standing in the ring, hearing the music. Yeah,
I love how Foley describes it of like, you're just standing there and all the lights go out, and then there's these, the music comes on, and then it's like the 6.5 foot tall John Wayne looking mofo comes strolling down the ramp.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember him like one of his thoughts was like, damn, I wish I could have an entrance like that when he was standing on top of the cage.
Now,
I mean, that's what I'd be thinking.
Yeah. 100%. As I recall, and it's funny, I didn't notice this, like now that I know the history behind this match. So Taker's coming in, I think he has a broken right foot.
He has a broken foot, yeah.
Yeah, he's a broken foot. And if you like watching him walk, he does look like he's walking gingerly too. Like he's like he said, like his foot is like throbbing at this point. But he's like, it's just part of the job. So it's like, good God. And he's got to climb that freaking thing.
throbbing, or I mean, the thing is, like, I'm sure. I mean, and this is no big secret with athletes. You know, you get the needle, you get a cortisone shot or whatever. I mean, but that only does so much. I mean, it's broken. It's broken. Like you're putting your weight on that. Like, dude. What I think is great is how even Mick was like, and Undertaker climbs the cage faster than him with a broken foot.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
You want to come up there and fight? Oh my gosh, I forgot about JR.
I love the fact he's just taking a pop at him, like as he's trying to get up there. Like what a heel maneuver. Yep. I love it. There we go. Yeah. There we go.
Good cheap heat, you know?
It is. Oh, Taker with some sledgehammer like punches there.
Were those some potatoes?
It might have been. Man, look at how they're like sinking though. Like I remember thinking about that. Like, holy crap, they're going to go through that dang thing, aren't they?
Oh yeah, that thing is definitely like because nobody. I mean, they didn't. It doesn't sound like there was a whole lot of planning ahead of time as far as like, oh yeah, we're going to go up there and we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Not enough time for them to actually, you know. Now you see the cage when the people are up there. I mean, it's a lot more reinforced than this.
Yeah. Now I have the volume turned down a little bit so I can hear you talk. But when I was listening to them do the commentary, there we go. Yeah, yeah, like those ties that are like not holding things together. That was like. Very
you can
audible.
see him falling. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, that.
Yep. And JR, my God, don't get him over here where we are. Hang on a minute, JR.
That YouTube clip, Foley's like, yeah, I wanted to do a suplex, and he's like, you kind of put a stop to that one pretty quick. Oh, here we go, the big spot.
Here we go. Out of
747. There goes Foley off the top of the cage. Good God Almighty.
My God, he's broken in half.
JR with the iconic call on that one. There it is.
Yep. The
holy
as
moly.
Well they should.
And the crowd at this point is like, what the heck did we just see?
Yeah. And
that's just unheard of. Like you never saw anyone do something like that. And yet Foley, given his career, like that is textbook Foley right there. It's like, yep, sure enough, he's the first one to do it.
Yep, he is not an overpromise, underdeliver kind of guy. He's going to overdeliver
up his right arm as he gets thrown. Yeah, I love how he winds up his right arm as he gets thrown. It's like he's going to drop an elbow on the table. Good God.
Well, he's making sure he gets tucked. That's the thing. Like he's trying to make sure he rotates.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you think about like how when we move our bodies and the fact that like your brain is doing the physics. Hey, Terry Funk.
Is doing there he is.
Is doing the physics to like make that happen. Yeah. That, like your body knows like, oh yeah, I can do this. Like I'll tell you, so while they're attending to Mick, so the time I was in Ireland and I got thrown off a horse.
Oh wow! I didn't know that.
So I went to do this thing, and we were supposed to. A group of us were going to go, and thought we were going to do like a nice little ride along, like in the woods or along the beach or whatever. It turns out we just signed up for a riding lesson, you know, and so we were supposed to go around, and they had enough horses for everyone except me, so they had to go and get my horse. Mm-hmm. And they brought out my horse, and my horse is kicking and snorting and pissed off and woke up in the wrong side of its stall. And I'm like, I'm supposed to get on that thing for the first time? Great. So we did the riding lesson. And eventually, my horse decided it had enough of me. And so it bucked me. Not like a gentle, like shove off to the side. Like I'm talking like bucking bronco, head down, ass went up, and I got the ejector seat treatment over the horse's head. In midair, I was like, okay, I got to make sure I land on my back and flat because I'd watched enough wrestling where I'm like, that's what I got to do. So when I landed, I did a perfect bump. Like I landed flat on my back, arms out.
Wow. Jeez.
And then I remember I sprung up because then my first thought, as soon as I hit, I'm like, don't let the horse stomp you to death.
Yeah, right.
So I jumped up, and that was a pretty good trick because then for like the next 3 days, like I could barely move because my friggin' hip was all messed up and everything. But anyways, it's amazing like how your brain does these calculations to make sure your body gets in, and it's doing like these like calculus physics and all this. It's crazy.
I even noticed when one of the replays when he gets thrown off, like he's even holding on to the side of the cage to, like you said, help with the rotation. He's like. Yeah, which is crazy.
I love
it's
this
like,
here where Taker's going up with the cage.
Yep. That had to be surreal.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Now, I don't think Vince was doing the Mr. McMahon bit yet. So the fact he's out there, that was usually a sign something bad was going on.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think this might have been the nascent beginning of Mr. McMahon, but I mean.
Oh no! Wait a minute.
He was
Stone Cold's champion, though. Stone Cold's champ, so he's got to be doing that a little bit.
Oh, totally. And I mean, the thing is, like, he kind of stopped doing commentary when that happened.
Yeah,
if I'm remembering right.
Funker with the John Deere hat. I love it.
And that's totally. And that's the. Oh yeah, and it's got the John Deere. It's got the little rope across the top of the bill. See that?
Yeah.
That's real old school.
Going with the stretcher job.
Here we get
Foley
the hockey
holding the left shoulder.
Here's the hockey
chant. You can see
chant.
one of the ties. You can see one of the ties broken.
Oh yeah,
on the cage. Holy moly!
Insane, dude.
And there's like some like I don't know if he was like internally bleeding or if that was just like if you look at the white shirt, like under his armpit, he's got some blood there.
Yeah, I don't know what that's from. I don't know if that was there or not. Oh my gosh, what a great shot!
That is. Undertaker standing on top of the Hell in the Cell, which has been actually lifted probably 6-7 feet up so that they can get him stretchered out. So, I mean, even this was something that was just like surreal for a match. Like no one had ever seen something like this.
Well, this is only the second Hell in a Cell match, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yep. Or I'm just saying in general, for a match to be stopped like this, it was just not normal, and this is the second one, definitely. Oh, stopping the stretcher halfway down.
Off the stretcher. He's going over the wall.
Now, what I love about this is like...
Oh, I love that. I love JR saying, the match is over, we apologize. And King actually had something going already, and he's like, why are you apologizing?
Yeah. Now I love this because this right here is where we go from Mankind to like Mick Foley now.
Yes.
Like this is where he starts building, not starts, but the fans start to respect the toughness, like the insanity of this man and the way he is like, he just doesn't quit.
Well, yeah, because he's not Mankind right now. He's Mick Foley.
No. Yep. Yeah, Taker
they're calling him Mankind.
Taker is not straying from those beams. Did you notice that? All right, now he's
there we go. There's the goozle. Oh my gosh! Hell no!
Goodness. Foley goes through the top of the cage, lands in the ring. Two violent falls in the span of 5-7 minutes. I mean, that's insane.
And this is the point where he's looking down, and Mick Foley asked him, like, what'd you think? He's like, I thought you were dead. And then we get somebody stop the damn match.
Yep.
And listen to this crowd, dude. Listen to the crowd. I mean, I've got this volume down like you do, but you can't not hear how loud that is.
The crowd is going crazy.
Oh,
they've never seen...
And there's the hop.
Oh, jeez. There's the hop. Taker, not 100%.
And now everybody's going to buy some time. Here comes Funk, going to feed him for one.
Oh, Funk taking the hat. Oh, see, that was the sign. He took the hat off. There
here we go.
Oh.
Choke slams right out of his shoes.
Man, Funk got up there. He got some air on that one.
Look at him doing the freaking the air punches.
Oh, God bless Terry Funk. Yeah, I think he's in his socks right now, if I'm not mistaken.
No, those he had like the New Balance dad sneakers, and they're gone.
So yeah, thank goodness Foley got no air because he went flat through and flat landed.
Oh my gosh, and there he is. Like
the match
went
continues.
down like a sack of crap right there.
Yep.
That dude is out on his feet.
Funk
Terry
sneakers
Funk shoes
in the middle of the ring. His John Deere hat the other side of the ring. Is he wearing any clothes at this point, folks?
Dear God, let's hope
just
so.
robing.
And somehow Undertaker is now like, his shirt is torn. Or no, wait a minute. Actually, it's cut like that. And here we go for the, what was
old
it?
School.
This is an old school at this point. This is current school.
Undertaker doing old school here, folks. Like the fact Foley's even standing up. My God.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there we go. Wherewithal to hit the ropes.
Oh, and now we're going to chain the door closed.
Foley would still find a way to the top. There's the iconic shot. 2 through the nose.
And trying to stick his tongue through the hole in his what was it? Lower lip. And who's the ref here? Isn't this Tim White?
Tim White.
Owner of the Friendly Tap, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. But I mean, man, the fact Foley is even able to move and put up a fight. I mean, my God.
Oh yeah.
That's just got to be pure adrenaline and just instinct at this point. Holy moly. He's still holding that left shoulder kind of gingerly too.
Oh yeah.
Good
wasn't
God.
it? It was out of the wasn't it out? I'm pretty sure it was out because then before he does the run in later, he has to have it pop back in. Jeez.
He couldn't pick up the stairs, but oh my gosh, right into that shoulder. Oh.
Mm-hmm. That's a precursor to Cody Rhodes with his torn pectoral right there.
Yep.
Man.
They're outside of the ring, just beating the tar out of each other. It's incredible. And Foley continues to get up. Does not know when to stop.
That uppercut of The Undertaker, man, just looks like $1 million.
Oh, yeah.
Such a good punch. Such a good punch.
No,
that is one thing I dislike about some wrestlers is their work punch just looks like crap.
Yeah.
It's like you can't really. Oh, Taker darts himself on the cage.
Takes a special man to turn himself into a dart against the cage.
Yeah. Oh, and is that Funk?
Did it.
Or is that just his shoes? I saw some sneakers over there. I'm not sure if Terry Funk was back in them or not.
Maybe.
Who is like more in danger here? Undertaker, Mankind, or the cameraman?
Yeah, that's a good point. Or Tim White.
I don't know. Tim White doesn't have the cord behind him. That
actually, it looks like that's Funker's sneakers and hat over there in the corner.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if he put them back on and he was selling,
or Funk was just laying there dead for most of the match.
I'm just gonna stay over here and just in case you need me, Cactus.
Oh my gosh! Then we got Undertaker showing a little color now. Everyone's got color.
Yep. Tim White might just bust open on his own right now.
All right, this right here.
Oh, the stump pile driver.
I love that pile driver. I love that pile.
Yes.
Fully just the way he executes that. My God. I mean, that looked like the most vicious freaking move.
Yep.
I mean, when he did that to Triple H on top of a table on the top of the ramp, I think it was like back in like 90, it was like 96 or 97. My goodness, was that just vicious.
Yeah.
Just vicious.
Well, it's the quick motion. That's what does it.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's the one
like
weakness of the
DDT like. It's that snap motion that makes it look really, really brutal. And
because that's the thing. That's the weakness with a lot of pile drivers is because it takes so long to get the guy in position. You know, aside from like when Taker or Kane does it, because of just the way, just the physiology of it when they do it, it seems like it's just that much better. But yeah. Oh my gosh, that looked $1 million.
But I love even like Foley when he does these like pinfall covers. I mean, it's just he's trying to survive.
Oh yeah.
Like he's just trying to survive. He just rolls over and he just tries to put just a limp arm on top of him. Oh, I think it's about that time, folks.
There is a great psychology to mix matches.
Yep.
You know. Oh, he's got a baggie.
Is that Damien? Is that the snake? It looks like it. Some sort of bag. I think it's got a cobra inside. No, wait a minute. What is that?
And the sprinkling of a couple. Look at the showmanship. Just sprinkling a couple of handfuls before we dump the whole kit and caboodle.
I love watching the crowd get up off their butts and like, what the heck is he doing?
Yeah. And
I think the first time
Lawler showing his southern roots. He's fixing to send the Undertaker.
Paging Tennessee Lee.
He's fixing to do it. Oh my gosh! And here we go.
Gonna try run off those ropes. Mick, what are you doing? Good God. I mean, God, this is just such a brutal match, these two.
Oh, yeah. But it's telling a great story. Like the ebb and flow of this is tremendous.
Yes.
I mean, of course, with the high spots, but I mean,
like
that's
Foley
like two spots. Like everything else
Foley's
is great.
Knocking out these like single maneuvers just out of instinct, and Taker, you know, for the most part was in control, which makes sense, right? I mean, Foley's taken two massive bumps, so he shouldn't be dominating this match, but yet he somehow, you know, is having a good showing here, even though, you know, he's basically like barely hanging in by a thread.
Yep.
Just incredible.
Oh, and here we go.
Oh, here we go. Now, I think if I remember right, this first one didn't quite hit the way that Foley wanted. So then like Taker did a second one, I think, or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause he's trying to roll into
Here
him.
he goes. Here he go. Look at him. Like a moth drawn to a flame. Foley rolling through the thumbtacks. Good God.
But he was supposed to, after that, I think whatever happens next, it was supposed to be the finish, and he audibled.
Yeah. Yeah.
For another, I think it was another
he
tombstone.
Wanted to land on those suckers like point blank. And this was Undertaker giving it to him. Here you go, Mick. There you go. Right on him.
Well, no, I think he kicks out.
Good Lord. Look at his back. Oh, here we go. Tombstone pile driver. Setting him up.
Now, is this a finish?
And here, ladies and gentlemen, is the showman that Mick Foley is. The leg.
Look at that.
There's the leg.
Yeah. Yes, that little just half kick. So, and I remember Stone Cold talking about that. He's like, it's just those little things, you know. And Mick apparently was kind of known for that, like that little, like the instinct, you know.
Yep. 3 count from the Undertaker, and the match is mercifully over. Good Lord. But I mean, like I said, like this match, there's been, you know, like in WCW they had gosh, what's the double ring cage
War Games.
You know, that was like, you know, a brutal affair between like usually the 4 horsemen and, you know, whatever the face group is that was taking them on.
Hang on for 1 second. I just want to interrupt because just look at how Taker is selling this.
Oh yeah.
His entire gimmick is not selling.
Yes.
And not emotion. And you just look at this guy and he's like selling exhaustion.
Yeah.
Which just makes it just elevates that more, like, oh my gosh, what did we just friggin' watch? I mean, Taker is shot.
Yeah.
You know, he's like tired and he's beat up and he's showing all the wear and tear. Like that just, oh my gosh, it makes both of these guys. Anyways, I'm sorry. Go back. War Games, WCW.
No, just like when you just looking at the scene, you just see brutality. You just see like know this is theatrical. You know, deep down this is a show of sorts. But my God, like it's just such a what a violent match. And like you said, the ebb and flow of it was just perfect. And just a classic match. And Undertaker hobbling out, good Lord, his foot probably in worse shape coming out of it than he was going into it.
Oh, for sure. And I love the fact that I forget what at one point he's like, here, I remember Mick writing in his autobiography, like, have I already been on the stretcher once tonight? Yes, Mick, you have. I don't want to be on the stretcher a second time. And it gets him to help him to the back because he didn't want to do two stretcher jobs in one night. Oh my gosh!
Now, if I remember correctly, let me just look this up real quick while they're helping him out of the ring, because that's also part of this is what it
friggin' replay.
The whole scene of him leaving the ring. Let's see. Yeah, so it would be later this year, or of later 98, that I believe. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it would be December 29th in Worcester in 98. So end of that year, he would win his first WWF championship, Mick Foley.
Yeah. And
I think a lot of that was fueled by this match, because coming out of this, Taker's aura continues to grow, of course, from this as just being, the badass that he is, but now Foley now transcends his character. He is no longer just mankind. He is this human being that people have seen, go through just a tremendously violent match and give his all for it. And, this is how he becomes like that people's champion. And it's awesome to see the evolution. Oh, there's Bunker giving him a hug.
You done good, Cactus. Please don't bleed on me. This is my good t-shirt.
Oh my goodness.
And use the Foley chants.
And, same thing when Austin fought Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13 and he walked out on his own, but he walked out. And
yeah oh my gosh, Funk's got the fanny pack.
Oh yeah.
Got the fanny pack, barefoot. Funk looks like he's damn near homeless. He looks damn near homeless. You tell me the difference between that and the guy who's standing outside your 7-Eleven at 1:30 a.m. on a Saturday. There's very little difference, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I mean, just
maybe it's just my local 7-Eleven. Oh yeah, and deservedly so. Good God. But I mean, how much better could you take that bump?
Yep.
How could you take that bump any better? Like flat on his back, table gave way.
Lawler apparently
King looking disgusted with the thumbtacks.
I'm going to pause it at this point. Are we done?
Yes, I think so. I think we are done. So. Yes. Oh my gosh.
I think we should also remind the audience that the next match after this, Foley comes back out, and
yes, he does a run in.
Does a run in, and doesn't really do a whole lot, but just makes a kind of a show, and then gets summarily pummeled by Austin, I believe, and kind of powders out of the ring. But my goodness, what a match, and just like we said, I mean, it was just something you had never seen, and you probably wouldn't obviously wouldn't see it again. They tried to recreate it when they did the cell match, when Triple H did the cell match with Foley to basically retire him, but it became clear that they manufactured that going through the top of the cell moment, because when he landed, you could kind of tell the ring was gimmicked to kind of cushion the fall greatly for him.
Totally.
And stuff. So this was just one of those moments where it was very real, but it was just the right two guys, the right two characters who had worked up to that point. For both of them to, the demonic Undertaker and then the demonic, Mankind. I mean, it all just kind of came together into this perfect concoction on this very nondescript kind of pay-per-view. And so yeah, I always marvel watching it. It's such an interesting match.
I just kind of, skim through here. And so approximately 15 minutes from when Mick managed to work his way back on the Peacock version of this, like 15-ish minutes later, he's doing the run-in.
Okay.
For the Stone Cold Kane match.
Gotcha.
Damn. And in that time, I believe he had his shoulder pop back into its socket.
That's incredible.
I'm assuming was slapped around and given a little bit of hydration, and then sent back out on his merry little way to go and play a part in the finish of the final match of the night. Like, oh sure, why not?
Of course.
Good God.
Of course.
Being used like a rented mule was Mick Foley during this pay-per-view.
But
good God.
But I think it's safe to say without this match, I don't know that we would have got world champion Mick Foley. I think this really is a turning point for him in terms of, if he wasn't already seen as tough. Yeah, so I think it's a 2 hour 33-minute mark, and 27 seconds is when Foley comes waddling out again. Austin, and here's what's hysterical: they couldn't lift it looks like they couldn't get the cell totally up, above the ring, and so when Austin and Kane have that match, the cell is kind of like, or no, it looks like it is in the cell. I don't know. They're dropping the cell back down. Oh, stunner for Foley. Yeah, Foley doesn't do a whole lot. He comes out and he gets a stunner, and then.
As well as he shouldn't. Just the fact that they made him go back down to the ring was enough. Like that.
Oh my gosh.
That's like imagine the worst workplace accident you've ever had, and then 15 minutes later they're like, "Hey, can you come back and take care of something for us?" Like, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez.
Just incredible. So yeah, Undertaker. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, they don't make them like Mick Foley. Like, there was no mold. There was no mold to break. Like, Mick Foley was a one-off, hand-sculpted, and that's it. And in a way, thank God for that. I don't know if the world could take more than one Mick Foley, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But damn, oh my gosh.
Amazing
what a match.
And both men just, went on to just bigger and better things after it. And just, like I said, aura of the Undertaker, and just, the way he's viewed, by fans and even by superstars. I mean, just a, a locker room general and a, highly respected, very, very tough man, who would go on to, transcend in other ways in his career as well. So yeah, no, 25 years ago, man, we have aged.
Yes,
but this match holds up. This match holds up.
And again, we mentioned Stone Cold and Kane, the match that followed this, and Kane wins the world championship. And as he said many times afterwards, like, and nobody remembers it at all.
Yep.
because Taker
I didn't
and
even
Mick
know
stole
that
the
Ken
show.
Shamrock became king.
Literally, no one remembers anything else. Because and I'm very glad in a way. Because Mick has now at this point talked somewhat extensively about how he kind of resented the fact that he was known for this match, and has said that it's literally not a day has gone by in his life since then that somebody has not mentioned or asked about this match, and he really resented it for a long time, and I can see that perspective, because. I mean, when it comes down to it, yes, professional wrestling is athletic. It's an athletic endeavor. And anyone who says like, oh, well, it's not a real sport, whatever. Go, golf. By that measurement, golf isn't a real sport. Because you tell me who's really exerting themselves, quite honestly. It's an athletic endeavor, but it's also an artistic endeavor. And in terms of music or book or whatever, what is it like having that one thing that people talk about constantly, but yet you've done all these other things that you think are pretty good, but everyone wants to talk about that one thing. Like, what is it like to be a one-hit wonder? And I've written hundreds of songs, but everyone just wants to talk about one. And I'm really glad that Mick has now kind of come around. And it sounds like he kind of came around when
he was Undertaker.
Yes, when they did a show together. And how he was like, listen, people are going to be talking about this a long time after we're gone. And kind of realizing like, wow, and to have something like that is a special thing.
That not every superstar has, like
no.
Not to belittle Austin's career, but other than Austin versus Hart, I don't know. And I don't even know if I put Austin versus Hart in the same category as this, like
I might, because it was a very, it's a visual. Like in the same way that Mick Foley flying off the cage or getting goozled to the cage is a visual. Steve Austin passing out, in quotations, in the sharpshooter, the Crimson Mask, all of that.
But none of the world titles, like none of the world titles, none of the world title reigns would compare.
Not really,
to
no.
that.
No.
It's a match that he had with nothing on the line. It was just two guys. I mean, in a lot of ways, a lot of parallels here, right? I mean, Bret Hart and Austin really were about, just going at each other, and it was a just beautifully built like blood feud between the two of them, which iconically had the brawl in the crowd where Austin summarily goes up to a vendor, grabs a Coke, takes a sip, and bashes it over Bret Hart's head with the just soda and ice just exploding everywhere. It was it was just such a great visual. I mean, again, Austin and Foley, I think, are cut, in some ways from a similar cloth with just the details. Like they just would bring those details into their matches, and it always just enhanced them. So,
I think they also had a similar mindset of like, you know what, nobody really thought I was gonna get to this point. Nobody thought I was worth being in that upper echelon, so I got to do that much extra,
right. Yeah.
And the only thing that pissed off Austin more, because he was mad that he couldn't find a beer vendor. That was the thing. Like, I got to drink Coke. Well, damn, son.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I mean, Kane and Austin having to follow this. I mean, it's like literally Hell in a Cell, Undertaker, Mankind is Queen at Live Aid. It is about as
ages.
Perfect as you can get. Yeah. And it is this gem where you're like, to see that is a joy unto itself,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, who remembers, who followed Queen at Live Aid? I mean, I do, because I'm a geek and I remember these things. The Who had to follow, and as I mentioned off air before we start recording, the Who also apparently had to follow Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock, which at what point the Who is like, really? Again?
Yeah.
We got to do this crap again? But man, it just an act you can't follow. It transcends and is that perfect moment. And damn, most of us in our lives don't get that. And I'm really, I am sincere in that. I'm really glad that Mick Foley has come to a peace with that, because it would be a hell of a thing to go the rest of his life, and not
being bitter about it.
Yeah. And I would hate for that to be for him, because I mean, I don't know Mick Foley. I met the man once, but he seems like a genuinely good dude.
Mm-hmm.
And for people like that, you just kind of, even from a distance, you just want good things for them,
Yeah, absolutely.
Good call in this episode, sir. Good call for that.
Thank you. Hell in a Cell 98, a gem, one for the ages, and do check it out. Don't need to know the background really on the two characters. Just hopefully we provided a little bit of it, but do check it out, because it is a very unique and an experiential match. That you just kind of sit there and like, wow, I cannot believe two men pulled this off. So do check it out.
Two human beings who are actually friends did these things to each other.
Yes.
Like they actually 100%. Like each other. Damn.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's a deep bond there. When you watch that YouTube video, you can see the bond there with those two, because they like to joke with each other, play off each other, and it's fun to see the brotherhood aspect of wrestling come out like that when you see these guys get together.
Indeed. And I think on that note, the only way to take this out is
absolutely.
And another thing.
So what do you got for and another thing for this episode, sir?
My and another thing is not a thing that is nestled in the dark regions of the interwebs, but more something that I think a lot of folks are talking about just now with the Emmy nominations coming out today, basically nominated across a bunch of categories, but Succession on. Apparently what is now called the Max, because we're just stripping letters off of this title until we're down to the X. But nonetheless, Succession on the Max, just a very, very good show. My wife and I started binging through this a couple weeks back, and have really gotten into it. It's a little bit of a hard rhythm of a show to get into, because it really does it has kind of an Ozarks feel to it, where you really struggle to like these characters because of who they are, and they do a really good job of portraying a little bit of the obnoxious nature of folks who are that wealthy. But it is an interesting character study in a family who really deep down, just rotten to the core, but all about the business and all about making, the billions and the money and who's going to control what when the old man moves on. And so it's just a great cast all around, great acting, and just would highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it yet, do check it out. We're on season 4, which is the last season, so we're starting to work our way through that. But
wow!
But overall, yeah, I'm very surprised at how much I enjoyed the series and the story being told. So do check out Succession on the Max.
Now, is the 4th season the last announced season, or is that just the most recent?
It's the most recent, but it is the series finale. The show has concluded. Yeah, it was a 4-season run for it. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, which I'm happy to see. Like just tell a story and then bring it to a close. Ted Lasso is a little more open ended, because they didn't necessarily say it was the end. Like, they're being very cagey about it. But I almost feel like it was a 3-season arc, and I think they told a great story with it, and it was a really deep story. And I would put that up against some of these 7, 8, 10 season shows where they kind of lose a bit of their juice toward the end of that. So yeah, kind of liking the same thing probably with Andor. Probably two strong seasons will be much better than the Walking Dead 12 seasons. So
well, not everything needs to be Cheers or MASH or
exactly.
Choose your long running TV show. Like you say, here's the story. That's it. Good enough. Like Indeed. Watchmen. We have not gotten Watchmen season 2, and we probably are not going to, because the creator has said, unless there is a fantastic story I can tell, I don't see any reason to mess with it. And
yeah,
after watching that, I'm like, I wholeheartedly agree.
Yep. How about you? What is your and another thing, sir?
Well, this is one that I actually kind of picked at random last night. I was just kind of looking for something to kind of while the hours away. Not necessarily. I've been on kind of a run. Like I've been exploring the documentary tab on the Disney Plus, just under general, because it's kind of nice just to be able to look at all of them. So you get all the Nat Geo, all the Star Wars, Disney, all these different ones. And one of the ones that came up is a documentary by Paul McCartney's daughter. I think her name is Mary McCartney. Oh, gosh, I should have done some research. But it's called If These Walls Could Sing, and it is all about Abbey Road Studios. And it's fascinating because I love just the way that musicians and people who worked at the studios talk about it, because studios have a kind of magic. Mm-hmm. And this comes from watching Sound City on which Dave Grohl produced, talking about that studio, and how in the live room, which is kind of the big room where you can put an entire band in there, but it's usually the reason they call it a live room, I'm guessing, is because you can play live in there, and also because it's just kind of stuff bouncing around. But just talking about how that room really is it's not what you would pick for a recording environment, but it worked. You know, it was a combination of that room and the board it just created magic. And Abbey Road kind of similarly, just the they at one point they even talk about they were afraid to paint Studio B. Like everything, since the Beatles had recorded there, I think when they talked about Kate Bush recording there in the early 80s, like it had basically remained untouched because they were afraid to even paint it because it might change the sound of the room, you know?
Yeah.
And they go through everybody's, a ton of people have recorded there. Of course, they're talking to Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr because, the Beatles, of course. Elton John. At one point, they talked to Jimmy Page, not about Led Zeppelin, but because he was a session guitar player who played on the recording of the title track from Goldfinger.
Oh, wow.
So he was there during the session when they recorded that. And he's talking about that, and oh my God, so many other folks that are in there. But they also recorded, I believe they recorded the soundtrack for Return of the Jedi there. And so they have John Williams. John Williams pops up in this documentary several times, and he talks about how this, the magic of the studio and what it's like, and just oh my gosh, it's so great because. There kind of is this cool thing of just being able to be in a studio, and I feel lucky enough that as a musician I got a chance to do that in a professional studio. Obviously not Abbey Road, but it is an experience, and it's almost like going into a bunker in a way, and kind of living in there. And finding out that I didn't realize this, but in their contract, the Beatles basically had, as part of their contract, unlimited studio time, which is why they could do stuff like that whole Get Back documentary where they're just like shacked up at Abbey Road forever to record an album because we want it. So we've booked it and it's ours because we're not paying for it. But it's amazing. Just like even going back to the actual technology, like they have George Martin's son talking about like how they would record things and 4-track recording and all of that. Like, oh my gosh, it's mind-blowing, but the stuff you could do, and just like people talking about this and just the kind of the feeling of going in there. It's such a great documentary. Even if you're not a musician, there is something contagious about the way that this is shot and the story that comes through of this studio, and how it has become such a special place for musicians, and how it has really influenced, our record collections. Like I forget who it was. Dang it. But they basically said like 60% of my record collection was recorded here. Wow. It's like, this That's is where crazy. I think it might've been, Liam Gallagher who had talked about that. He's like, most of my record collection has been recorded in this studio, in this room. And that's just kind of a mind-blowing thing. But it is so great. And it's also great because, of course, Paul McCartney's daughter, they show her like as an infant, like on a play rug in like Studio B. Like she grew up going there and hanging out there and all that. So it's kind of cool to see someone come full circle, and then to be kind of making this love letter to part of your personal history, part of your father's history, and part of music history. It's a phenomenal watch. It's like 90 minutes. It's well worth your time. It's so great.
Nice. I shall check that out. Sounds interesting.
And as well you should. And now we ought to be shuffling on out of here because we are approaching the 2-hour mark, I believe. Yeah, we're
ready to go to sleep.
Kind of, and I am sweating.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is the sweat report over there? Are we, full on drenched, or are we partially?
I'm not.
What's going on?
I'm not drenched, but then again, I know when I stand up from this chair,
I haven't moved, so as to displace any liquid.
There's going to be a funk cloud released. Let's just say. It's been warm and humid here in the Northeast, so I've already had a head start on that. But anyways, thank you to everyone who has been tuning in and listening. We do certainly appreciate it. Thank you for listening to our quite honestly, our idiocy here on the interwebs. We do certainly appreciate it. So thank you to all the members of the Free Range Idiocy congregation. If you don't know what that means, well, hell, you ought to join it because, I mean, why not? What's one more club? The way you join the Free Range Idiocy congregation is essentially you listen. We don't pass the collection plate. If we did, we might actually be making a profit on this. But as it is, we go into the hole on this one for you.
Especially Uncle Todd with his Peacock subscription.
I can't even tell you how much it hurt to give $9.99 back to Vince and that crappy ass mustache of his. That son of a bitch. Anyways, thanks for getting me angry at the end of the episode. I really appreciate that, Tim.
That's why I'm here.
You're a peach, let me tell you. But yes, if you listen to the show, you're now part of the Free Range Idiocy congregation, and we like to think of ourselves as we're kind of the nicer cult. So basically, you can find our episodes at freerangeidiocy.com. You can also go; that'll take you right to our Podbean page. You can download all of our episodes there. You can also subscribe to the Podbean app. If you say I don't want nothing to do with another app, I've already got 18 screens on my iPhone. Well, hell, just look for us on Spotify. We're also on Apple Podcasts. We're on Google Podcasts. We're on Pandora. We're on whatever the hell the thing is that Amazon does. They're really piss poor branding. I have no idea what their podcast service is called. Ask Alexa to play Free Range Idiocy, and it'll probably play through your microwave, something like that. But anyways, find us on the podcast purveyor of your choice, and keep them sweet downloads rolling for us. We don't make any money off of it, but it makes us feel good.
Downloads.
Gives us a warm, fuzzy feeling, which is good before 5 p.m. when we really can't start drinking bourbon yet. And you can also follow us on the social medias. We are on Facebook. We are on the YouTubes. We are on the Instagrams. You can find us. All of those are at Free Range Idiocy. And if you have any questions, thoughts, or concerns, you can send those to Tim at freerangeidiocy.com, and he will get back to you ASAP, PDQ, forthwith, something like that. Because
ASAP.
Quite honestly, he cares. I don't. But now, something like that. Oh, so speaking of abbreviations, I got to tell you this because I forgot to do it during pre-show chat. So I was in the market for a bass preamp pedal.
Okay.
Which is kind of a very oddball sort of thing. Basically, I don't want to haul my amp in for some of these smaller gigs. And, I'm lazy and old. So I'm looking for a pedal that I can basically plug my bass into and then run it right into the board and not have to worry about any of that. So I was trying to find a different pedal. I couldn't find that. I found one, though, that was a great deal. It's the YYZ preamp pedal, a Geddy Lee edition. So I immediately, as I was buying this off of Reverb today, I was like, oh my gosh, Tim is going to give me so much crap for this.
Send me a picture, man.
He's finally turning the corner. He's going to become a Rush fan.
That's right.
But speaking of abbreviation, and I actually said it correctly that time, YYZ instead of, the first time I said it, YYZ.
Very
and
proud
both
of
you and Brindamore were both like, oh, dear God, he's got so far to go.
Pronounce YYZ and then pronounce Neil Peart. So got to make sure you get the Peart. Peart.
I'll see, whatever. Anyways, I was just going off the abbreviation, dude. I don't want to get too deep into this thing. I'm sweating from orifices I didn't even know that I had. But right now, I'm going to turn this over to the less idiotic of the two idiots that run the show, and also the one that probably is not sweating out his bunghole right now.
In the basement, nice and cool.
He's in the basement. It's awful musty down there, but not from him. It's from his Pellegrino wine cellar that he has downstairs. But I'm going to turn it over to the man they called Tim. But I'm going to ask him the second most important question ever uttered by human lips. The first, of course, being what is hip. The second being, the heck did we learn this week?
We've learned the following, my friend. We have learned that Andor is going to take Uncle Todd back to his rosy memories of going to that midnight showing of Phantom Menace when we see Naboo appear on our television screens. And he will be happy. He will be thrilled. And he will say, by God, thank you, Tim, for taking me to that midnight showing.
You're wrong.
Thank you, Bernie.
You're wrong.
I can't see, ladies and gentlemen, we don't have our webcams on, but I can just see him just sitting there with a very serious look on his face, just pressing that button over and over.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
Damn!
Good
You're
God.
wrong. You're wrong.
Makes you humble.
Damn!
You're wrong.
You okay over there? Jeez.
You are worse than Hulk Hogan.
I'll take that.
I'm just having fun. That's all.
That's all right. That's all right. We have also learned, as we discussed at length, the historic and just very unique and different match that was Hell in a Cell '98. Do check it out on the Peacock. Check out King of the Ring 1998, and you will find it at the timestamp forthwith. PDQ. We've also learned that Uncle Todd is either going to. Oh, thank you. Uncle Todd is either going to start a band, release an album, or a song entitled "Funk Cloud" coming to you in the near future.
Please, no.
Oh well,
It's funky in here, but it's not funky in a good way.
With all that being said,
it's like a wheel of Gouda cheese that's been rolled in sawdust and then left under your bed for a month and a half.
Good God. All that being said,
your cat's licked it and puked on it.
I will echo Uncle Todd's notes of appreciation for the downloads, for the listenership, and we do invite you to drop some topic ideas to us if you so desire, and do keep those downloads coming. With all that being said, we will close things out here. I'm your Huckleberry. We'll close things out here on the range very simply by saying, it's time to close up the shop. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. So on that note, we bid you adieu until next time, hopefully a week from now, most likely 4 weeks from now.
Hey.
Hey, I'm at fault for that too, man. I'm probably going to be in the hospital.
Don't be making fun of my
week.
dumpster fire. It's been keeping me warm.
Well, I'm probably be in the ER next week, so who knows?
Oh, don't you say that.
Well, I don't know. I got to get my,
You're the stable member of this partnership.
Yeah, I was going to say, I got to get the, the membership benefits that I was once experiencing with my frequent trips there. So.
What do they give you? An extra
like your
Johnny or something?
Cheeseburger.
Jeez.
Oh, anyways.
Would you like me to warm up the enema for you?
You can just
I'd like
at
it
the 45-degree angle if you'd like.
I'd like it chilled if you could. I'm feeling a little warm.
Yes.
It's like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking.
I beg your pardon, what did you say?
Damn!
You're such a disappointing pair. I prayed so hard for you.
You know, you're really pretty.
Oh, stop.
No, I'm serious. You could be in magazines. You could. And not just like Jugs or Creamsicle.
Get out. And don't come back until you've redeemed yourselves.
Oh, we also learned that bourbons can be served in slushies, which I hope to try soon.
Oh, yeah, that ninja's going to be working for that. That'll be great. Yes. My wife is going to be like, how come I taste alcohol in my morning smoothie? Never mind.
Yeah, she says that as she turns around and finds you passed out on the floor.
No, I'm going to be making them at like midnight. I'll be out in the garage so that she can't hear that thing because it operates at roughly 200 decibels. It's like the entire freaking neighborhood can hear you using that thing.
Uncle Todd's going to soundproof his garage solely so he can do that.
What is that, a wood chipper? No, it's the Ninja. Like, hey, crap. What are you putting into that? A freaking oak tree?
Oh.
We just missed the 2-hour mark.
There we go. We're back.
Because here I am talking about wood chippers and enemas. Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. Have a nice day.
Well, it's better than the last time you were like, you don't have to stay here, but you can't go home.
Wait a minute. I had that wrong. Yeah, I know. Love that preparation. Love that show preparation.
Yeah, Preparation H.
Indeed.
Now get the hell out of here!